Save Your Keys here to help you save your keys. So to start big in Necrotic Wake, you want to pull everything because everybody has their cooldowns. So don't be afraid to just grab the blight bags on the left and the right, all the ways up to the corpse harvester. And as a paladin, I use my bubble with the AoE taunt to ensure I hold aggro. Then off with Avenging Wrath and Divine Toll before I start kiting to avoid the Sanguine. And here's a quick reveal of details to show everyone's CDs in action. So everyone is able to reach above 10k DPS, which just melt this pack. This is only a 12 Tyrannical, so it makes sense, but if it was a fortified week, you may want to use Lust with this pull too, just to make things still go smooth. The first Goliath, you want to collect the orbs, and then you want to pull the boss, use the spear, and just blast the boss down. Here I ended up getting duped out of both of the orbs that I tried to run to. Someone managed to collect 2. Not sure how that happened, but you know, it's a small indie company under remanagement, so maybe we can get this fixed. Who knows? I digress. But the major part with the orbs is you want to stack with the boss because it helps trivialize any adds around. So even if that means they accidentally pull in or taking care of the carrion worms, and really then it's up to the tank for making sure the ground doesn't get super painted, which I ended up doing this bass backwards completely. I typically go the other way around the little shield thing in the ground, but because of the accidental double ad pull, I just ended up kiting this way in a line because I was worried about Sanguine. Anyways, I also like to try to keep the boss inside of the carrion worm explosion for a little bit because he'll do fetid gas. And so I just like to try to keep it centralized to one location so the explosions don't cover too much ground. From here on, even after the exhaust runs out, just stay kind of close so the worms don't get too far, DPS the boss, and make sure the worms don't attack anything. Or if they do, they will cast Blood Gorge up to 3 times, and then they will do an AoE explosion, which can cause a wipe to the group, and it can be quite the healer check on Tyrannical weeks. So just help the healer, kill the worms, CC them if needed. But yeah, that's basically this boss in a nutshell. So here again, I'm trying to grab an orb. Someone took the one that I was trying to go for, so I think I have it. And then, anyways, yeah, this you just want to pull big and really rely on the Anima Exhaust because it just does so much damage, it's just ridiculous. Speaking of big damage, I'm actually going to have the healer here grab the first big orb for the pulls up in the next Ramus. That'll be out in a future video. This video is just to show the use of the Anima Exhaust in the first half of the dungeon. So the Marauder pack actually isn't that bad, and if you have the Anima Exhaust still ticking, it goes down pretty fast. You want to save some of your DPS cooldowns for the shield the Marauder puts up, because if you break the shield before it goes out, it does big damage to the Marauder itself. Here you can see we managed to get him down below 50% before the shield even comes up, so when the shield breaks, he just explodes. From here we skip Narzuda and then we make our way to the third Goliath. Here I try saying to save Goliath for after Oros, but as soon as this group dies, 2 of these hoodlums run over and activate the Goliath anyways. So much for directions. But hey, at least this time I was able to grab one, so there's that. In hindsight, we should have just skipped Oros and took the orbs and ran with them. The final boss in this dungeon tends to be a slog anyways, no matter how slow you are. And ironically, a slow buff almost makes the final boss easier because you're less likely to run into somebody else's Comet Storm. So the pull I like to do is to run along the outside of the platform here and just grab these first 2 into the big group of zombies to the Bone Carvers. This just kind of gets the upfront damage out of the way. I feel like the zombies can do a surprising amount, or you can get distracted and fall into a shadow well without realizing it. Unfortunately here the Anima Exhaust starts running out before I had time to get to the Marauder pack. I don't like to pull these immediately off because of the gruesome cleave. I've wiped a few groups because I was either unable to get aggro on the Marauder or just bad positioning, and that cleave is just brutal sometimes. If the orbs would have been timed better, the end of this pull would have been cleaned up much more efficiently, but it is what it is. Just gotta roll with the punches sometimes, and this is how to use the Anima Exhaust on the first half of this dungeon.